Good morning to everyone and or good afternoon. My name is Dr. Tan from Thailand. And first of all, I would like to thank Professor Gina for inviting me to this sharing. And I'm so apologetic that I'm not able to join you because I have an emergent meetings that I need to engage. And so I need to fly back to my hometown, which is Chiang Rai, northern Thailand, for a very, very important government project discussion. And so today I would share with you as quickly. Hopefully, I'm able to have the lunch with you tomorrow. But today, let me record what I'm going to share with you. To your lessons on your events on these 3 days is about international tourism's educators, conventions, and research conference. So my topic would be relating to tourism, particularly with, as you see in this slide, would be the community-based tourism development with the push and help of the civil role, which it's very important, as you know, that the rural villagers are lacking of knowledge, and so the civil participants, such as the NGOs, the governments, and the universities like yourself, assisting all these rulers are becoming very, very important. Particularly, I would like to emphasize on the resilience perspective of initiated driven by the civil participation. And for research covering, I would also like to stress on neural network as part of the novelistic tools. Well, it is already in our tools, but it's certainly novelistic for the social and management perspective, such as tourism. And so let me present in this presentations field. Let me see if I get slide presentations from the current slide. Okay, so as we know that the community-based tourism is very, very important. Particularly, we have a lot of rural communities in our areas, such as in Philippines, and the land is very big and it's not able to cover the government's coverage. It's not that straightforward, and we have an urban area to deal with, and so the rural communities becoming extremely important, and they provide not only this fragment, this distributed developments in these rural communities area, but I think in terms of agriculture, they also provide importance necessary and this food supply, agricultural supplies to the urban area. And so the community-based tourism's the role, as I have just mentioned, making it very significantly very important, and it is flourishing. And also political perspective, the governments would like to engage these local communities so that they can provide channels and avenues for local innovation. And so my topic would be utilizing local community-based tourism as an instrument, of course, for developing the locals' economies and also sustaining and preserving, and of course developing their social cultural developments. And at the same time, we know that in this rural area, human the social environment, social cohesiveness and this collectiveness are very, very important, and so therefore human social capital becomes a very important part. And in this research, I would demonstrate the civil participation, the civil role, as I have already mentioned. But again, when we talk about the social human capital, it really is, includes also the social capitals of the community itself. And so this study, as I say, would focus on the civil participation, as you see from this picture, using it as a bridge, bridging from the outside world as a push to help the inside world, which is the community, in helping them to realize their potentials. Realizing their potentials, and so therefore it create a positive impact on various sustainability domains. For example, the social domains, the economics domains, and the ecological domain. And that is very important, especially we in the tourism development, tourism's economics areas, since sustainability becomes a very critical issue. So with the civil actor participation, the tourism development process, because we are imparting the knowledge from the outside, so the rulers, communities will get better informed, more effective and equitable, and again, legitimate issues from the administrative and political perspective, and the funding perspective, of course. So the research objective that I am setting up for is to demonstrate the civil participation as the starting push for getting for the communities to get interest and have the confidence so that they can develop their communities. And I will not get into the details. In other types of my research, you will see that that involves social psychological theory that able to do that, and in doing so, we therefore can properly and effectively develop the community-based tourism for the community. And I would like to particularly demonstrate how it influences the tourist perception. But again, if in the next occasions, if we have the times, we in the future, we can look into various perspectives, such as the competency development perspective or the branding perspective. So the literature review would be, as I demonstrated, would be focusing, stressing on the resilient thinking and development. And so with that, I would like to, before we demonstrate the resilient perspective, I would like to demonstrate that this resilience is enabled through this civil participation, the civil actors, and that is the social capital. With that, in realizing a socially enhanced, intensified capital, we requires three interlocking competencies or three interlocking capitals domains that makes up the social capitalizations. And one of them is of course, is the relational, the relationship between each others, and that is in the central part, and that is the endogenous and exogenous in perspective. We will not get into the detail, but with these relational elements, it can push and enable the supply side and the demand side. And so the next elements are the cognitive. So it means that in terms of a good social capital, we have to look into the cognitive perspective, the cognitive capital embedded within this social capitalization. And of course, as I have demonstrated, it will involve sustainability goals and the types of values that we would like to provide to the tourists, value-adding services, and in that sense, from the tourism perspective sense, such as the experiential values that or transformative values or epistemic values, that emotional values and things like social values. Typically, these tourism academicians are focusing on. And the other one, of course, is the structural perspective, structural elements of the capital, the support structures and all these factors of resources and making sure that the attractors are there, things that attract the customers or the tourists are there. So using the civil participation as the push, it will you will get these. This is resilience cycles or the model, as you already probably understand, and it will push us it will initiate the growth stage of this community. And so the communities start to organize themselves and start to develop themselves, and then slowly progressing to conservation's achievement stage, performance stage, in the sense that we are seeing the conservation in the perspective of environment, culture, social, and environment, and the economic impact. And the key things is that most of the people would straight away jump through business model to tourist value. But I think another perspective is that if the tourists are able to see the conservational capability of the community, of course, demonstrated through the experiences that they were engaged in, it will deliver value, or they will perceive, the tourists will perceive values received. In that sense, it also changes their and mold attitudes and belief systems, strengthening them, strengthening not only the tourists but also the communities. That is the central part of this resilience cycle, because in a rural community, the attitudes and belief structures of the community members are extremely important, and it forms the psychological basis of the resilience. And with that, when any disturbance comes into pictures, they will be able to release their energies and devotion to help to engage into the next cycles of continuous redevelopments and reorganizations and reimprovements. And for rural revitalizations, most of these tourist academicians in China are focusing on the rural communities through tourism. So that is things that we are looking into the research. And from there, without getting into the detail, probably you already know that we have 4 hypotheses to test on, and one of them is the civil participation driving the growth, which is and then bring the growth at hypothesis 1, and the hypothesis 2, which is the growth state reaching to the conservation, the sustainability results, and with that the H3 linking to the values perceptions of the tourists, and with that it influences the community members back to the community's members. So just a couple of things before we get into the this methodological section, which will be quick, and then time limitations, I will go strictly jumps into the implications. But again, before that, I would like to, because social communities communication is very important, and one of the concepts that Herman mentioned, communicative practices, which is like community to practice, is very important concepts, and I would like to just stress on. Civil participations can be, as I through the civil participation, can be recognized as a process to steer the community to change their social community system. And by relying from the Habermas communicative perspective through a communicative rationality, and the things that are the model, the resilience model that I just demonstrate to you, it's also one of the communicative rationality structure to enable the community to convince them that this is one of the way. And of course, creativity plays an important role. The structures ensure that everything comes into the picture. So resilience is very important. It is the ability to recover, the adapt when facing the disruptions, which I have just explained, that when you get disrupted because the attitude has been consolidated, integrity, it can easily engage people to reorganize and recommit to develop, redevelop, or improve their community. So that is the perspective of the resilience. And the cycle is demonstrating that it is a continuous adjustment, so it possesses a dynamic capability, and therefore in the futures, when you based on this idea, extrapolate and extend to develop the competencies of this tourism development competency, whatever, then it can manifest dynamic capabilities. And so the growth stage is it's very important. It is an initial phase of the development resilience thinking, and without that, nothing happens. So you gotta really set up the commitments and funding, and so that the community can start get developed, and the resources start to get organized. And so this activity includes, therefore, as from the social capitalization perspective that I have just explained, it includes structural elements such as road, condition, and infrastructure, toilets, as you know, and homestays, and including some of the agricultural facilities for tourist perspectives and things like that. And communication is also very important. So, and hypothesis I have just demonstrated, not necessary that I go through words by words. And as the conservation stage reaches, it means that the resilience has turned into a more mature basis, and so that is very important for convincing the tourists to acknowledge and appreciate the tourist destination. So hypothesis 2, I have just explained, demonstrating the growth state, helping the sustainabilities. So sustainability as a livelihood has the nature of not belonging to anyone. It is a collective good. It appropriated the values to everyone's within the community, and of course outside, because outside like NGOs and universities also get the knowledge. So they appropriated to individuals, but they are enjoyed by all those who participate in the activities. And this importance, fundamental basis of livelihoods should be demonstrated as epistemic values to the tourists. And of course, the communities will grow in that sense. So hypothesis 3, as you already demonstrated, the evidential sustainable achievements will form the base of the to influence the values of the perceptions of the tourists. From the resilience and the sustainability perspective, as I have demonstrated in this hypothesis, and the sustainability on the one part and the tourist perception on the other part, you are certainly seeing evidences of the resilient systems getting more efficient to be able to deliver the desired output, and therefore provides attractive and meaningful visitor experiences and tourists. And that seeing that consequences, we has developed and built a very convincible, strong social psychological foundation for the community, and that is the key for sustainability and also for the resilience. Sustainability is not just a simple social. What types of social? In social, we involve social psychology, and so that is a very important part. And in terms from it forms a heuristics base for acceptance, and of course, the further cognitive and behavioral support for the particular community-based tourism initiative by the community members. And so it develops the community's attitude. So sustainability achievements would further strengthen the attitude, the belief of the community members towards the CBT initiative. So that is a very important part. I think without illustrating all these things, it will take a lot of effort to explain the rest of the things. So now it becomes very simple. So Keith, the other things that the methodological perspective that I would like to share with you is the neural network. You can, I explained a lot of things, and all these things can be really computed using the neural network without giving them structures. They're able to tell the structures, and then from there we can use that as an inductive tool to develop the structural equations modeling. So before you do that, everyone's know that I'm not gonna go through. You gotta make sure that survey questionnaires are valid and reliable, and so certain validity and reliability tests you need to demonstrate, and of all the construct. Excuse me. And so, for example, these are the final outcomes of structural equations modeling. And but if we want to predict for example, if I want to use neural network to predict the economic impact, you can put all this the rest of these variable as inputs, and it will. The simulations will tell you which ones are the critical factors, and the critical factors are demonstrated here: 0.44 path coefficients and 0.27, things like that, and it will match with pretty much match with this structural equations modeling. So if you go through the neural network, it would demonstrating tell you the same thing. Community, the participations are very important. Participations in implementations are very important. The community development organization, things like that. And so if you're trying to predict the tourist behavior, tourist value, again, all these are just the model of resilience that I have just demonstrated. And again, if you use the neural network, again, it will tell you that the tourists perceive the values being shaped by the way they see the sustainability, especially from the economic and social perspective, and then of course how the community has developed and when they actually experience it. And again, it will tell you the same story. Okay, so once you have done all this neural network simulation, and finally you can use this neural network simulation structure, collect them, integrate them, and it will form the structural equations model. And so this is another way to demonstrate. And it's from a teacher perspective, we can really provide the means to stimulate the cognitive processes of the students. And of course, from the engineering perspective, we can detect, measure, and provide the measurements and things like that, and devices design. And these are the correlations. And if you plot the graph, you probably can see a lot of ANOVARC and comparative demographic, comparative psychographic test accordingly, because there are different clusters and of differences which we don't gotta go through. I'm just trying to share with you the theoretical part. So now comes to the conclusion. Implications number one. The explicit structures that I have just expressed to you, the social capitalizations process involving relationals and cognitives and structural, as indicated in the resilience cycle, turns the invisible hand of the social capital into organized use. So number one is very important. We can do that, and we have done it. Together with the community development, and not only the civil participation, together with the community development, it really forms a collective social capitalization. And that is the cohesive social psychological capital that we really need to focus on. Implication number three, the empirically validated structure provide the developments of a resilient thinking and development to tourism, involving the civil actors as the initial push to ultimately deliver tourist value and influences the communities. In a way, the cycle of resilience makes sustainability more dynamic. It teaches the communities to be dynamic, and to be dynamic and resilience, you really need creativity, because when you recycle back, you really need creativity, continuous improvement, and integrated with the community tourism efforts and community development. And that is taking perspectives of all the stakeholders' views. Customers orientation that centralizes on sustainability, which it's a very important topic of all the academicians in tourism and tourism's discipline, and we have emphasized, and it is very, very important. When we are able to influence the tourists, then we are able to influence the communities. This is of course, this is in the tourism area. This is not agriculture. And so it should be prioritized strategically, the customer orientation. And to do that, you can look into to the details, such as the destinations, personality, identity, branding, and things like that. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoy, and so all the best wishes to your 3 days of international conference. Apologize that I'm not able to join you because of the emergence conference meeting that I need to go. So thank you very much, and I hope to have lunch with you tomorrow. Thank you.